Hello there, I'm Dark Shades. Welcome to my channel. First time you're passing through, you know the drill. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't, subscribe if you want to share it with other people, and comment if you have something to respond to or you want to respond to something I say. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about who's choosing who and how that impacts whether or not a relationship lasts. Well, I don't know if it does impact whether or not a relationship lasts, but I do have a funny feeling that if a woman chooses a man, it's more likely to last longer than if a man chooses a woman. You see, when a man chooses a woman, he chooses her usually because he, number one, is physical. Number two, he probably thinks, oh, I want, it's kind of a challenge. It's a kind of his competitive spirit. He likes to go after someone who's not easy to get, someone who challenges him then. And also, it's about whether or not he can conquer his prize. And because that is his motivation, it can happen time and time again. Because it's a kind of superficial reason for choosing a woman. Some men might choose a woman because they think, oh, she's decent, she's respectful, she's not going to give me any trouble, I don't have to worry about her, she's going to be a nice, good woman, she'll go look after me and that kind of stuff. You have men who look for those qualities in a woman, and sometimes those women may not be as attractive, but they consider them to be stable, loyal, loving, caring, nurturing, and all of that. And that is why sometimes you'll find that some men, they'll have that kind of woman at home because that woman won't give them any trouble. That woman is stable. She doesn't really question him. She's glad, to have a man who's chosen her and who she can serve. And then you'll find that sometimes those type of men will go after women who they thought they wouldn't be able to get. But because they don't have to worry whether or not they lose out on their conquest, because they have a nice stable wife or spouse at home, they can take those risks. So sometimes that is why I think infidelity takes place, and sometimes things get out of control because a man will have a really good woman at home. But then because he's got that really good woman at home, it gives him confidence. It makes him feel more secure. So then if he sees a really, really nice woman, he's thinking, I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm a good woman. If she don't want me, I swear to God. Problem is that if he pursues this ideal woman that he would really like, and he probably wouldn't have gone for her if he didn't have a stable source at home, and he actually gets that woman, then he's in trouble. Because this is the woman who he really wanted, regardless of what she looks like or whatever. There's something about that woman he is attracted to, whether it's her shape, whether it's her looks, whether it's the way she is. But for some reason, he didn't have the confidence, or he wouldn't have had the confidence if he didn't have a backup. So now he goes and he chooses this woman that he's chosen now to be, to satisfy his challenging nature, turns around and she decides that she likes him. And he's like, bloody hell, I didn't think a woman like her would fancy me, And so they're in a dilemma. They've got the good woman at home, and they've got this woman who kind of fulfills their visual and physical needs, and they don't know what to do. And then they try to keep them both, and that's where problems come in. So when a man chooses a woman, it's usually visual and physical. He usually has expectations. I'm not a man, so men, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong. He usually has expectations, i.e., it's what he perceives her to be. Sometimes I've heard of men saying when they see a woman and she's coming out of a bank and she's in a suit and she have her little heels and her makeup is nice and her hair is nice and her nails are done nice and she step out, Them say, why? She's a nice woman. Nice, clean, respectable woman. Based on her looks. That woman could have a mouth like a bloody trooper. She could be all over the place. But she has a job to do that she goes and does. And that's who she is. But because the perception is that she looks decent, she looks respectable, that is what that man is attracted to. And so he goes over her, and then you'll find that, you'll find some men, I'm not going to say ragamuffin, but them roughneck man. And, they go up to some of these women who come out of a bank or come out of some, some business place. And I said, boy, you look nice, You have a man, your man will take care of you. He will take care of you, And then they're quite shocked when the woman starts flipping and go, oh, really? Oh. And then they realise they're bloody hell. They don't say that, but, boy, it's kind of a shock because they wouldn't really expect a woman like that to respond to them in that way. They're expecting her to kind of say, oh, boy, put up the hand or whatever kind of rejection. So when that woman is kind of timid and she's kind of all, that veneer of professionalism and sophistication and pride and elegance, when that kind of disappears just because he's made her a compliment, it's kind of confusing because it's like, oh, maybe she's not what I thought I have. And then he'll persist and maybe even start going out with the woman. But my point is that sometimes what a man sees is not what he gets, because it's usually visual and it's normally ruled by what's in his trousers. That is what attracts a man normally. You do have the odd ones who are definitely looking for wife material, and they'll study them and they'll take their time and they'll watch them, and you do have men like that. But the majority, especially the younger men, they are just very visual creatures, and it goes by chemistry. Chemistry is what determines whether or not that woman is the woman he wants to be his woman or his girlfriend or maybe even his wife. Because the funny thing is also is that some women that look vivacious and loud and provocative and sexy, and them have a whole heap of hair and them have a whole heap of makeup, and sometimes they are the ones that have the better qualities than the one that looks dressed up in a suit. Because sometimes all of that exterior stuff is just a veneer. And when the man is talking to the woman and thinks, oh, this is going to be easy pickings because she looks sexy and because she looks voluptuous and, she's got a bit of a mouth on her, they're kind of surprised that she actually has some seriously good qualities. And so then they get confused because, once again, what they see is not what they expect, and they can end up falling in love with that woman just as much as they can end up falling out of love with the woman with the suit because she's not who he thought she was. And then, of course, you have the women who are quite confident regardless of how they look, and that might be appealing to some people, some men, because they see them as honest and they feel as though they know where they stand, and even though they're brash, they feel like, boy, she's hard work, but at least I know where I stand with her. So when a man chooses a woman, and especially if he decides that this is the woman he wants in his life, he has made that decision. And in his head, once he's made his decision, that's it. For some reason, he doesn't feel as though the woman's part has any significance whatsoever. He just thinks, well, this is the woman we want. This is the woman we are going to marry. This is the woman we want to spend my life with. doesn't really check in to see whether that's what the woman wants. And sometimes the woman wants a man who knows what he wants. But then, if that woman goes with that man just because she feels he knows what he wants, and yet the reason why he's chosen her is it can be transitioned onto somebody else, it's transferable because it's just superficial, then she gets confused when his behavior doesn't go with his words. So he's saying he loves her, he's saying he wants to be with her, he wants to spend his life with her. But then two Tuesdays there looking at somebody else, he's gone, he's got distant, and he's got bored because what he observed or what he felt was something unique in this woman, he can get it from any 10 other women. So men are looking for the wrong things. When they're choosing women, they're choosing a woman for the wrong reason most of the time. And because of that, some of the relationships don't work. Sometimes a man can choose a woman, and if that woman is the type of woman who is stable, who just wants a man to please, and who is happy pleasing her man, those relationships can work. But personally, I think it's better when a woman chooses a man. Granted, if a woman chooses a man, he might think, boy, I don't have to work at this. This is easy. She want me. She love me. What the way my woman love me, That's what he might think. But if a woman chooses a man, she chooses that man for a reason. It's very rarely that it's visual. It's because she sees certain qualities in him. Now, if that man gets cocky and overconfident and those qualities are no longer there, that woman, because she knows that those qualities exist in that man, because she saw them in the beginning, she will try to bring out those qualities. And she will spend a long time doing it because that is what she fell in love with. That is the man she chose. And if a woman chooses a man, she's more likely to stick with him than if a man chooses her. Because if a man chooses her, he's had to really work hard to turn her head so that she likes him, if you see what I mean. Because it's not an assumption just because a man chooses a woman is going to like him back. But sometimes if he puts in the work and, the blood, sweat and tears or whatever, he can win her over. But that means if he's won her over through a certain type of behavior and a certain set of standards, that means when those standards drop, she's going to kind of move away because she never really wanted to be with him in the first place. So it's important, the reason why you choose somebody or you enter into a relationship with someone. Now, if a woman chooses a man, I think a man has got a better chance of making it work because even though he might think it's easy pickings, he doesn't have to really work at it because she chose him. He'll quickly find that she is a no-nonsense person, usually. And he'll quickly find that, yes, she loves him and she does everything for him and blah, blah, blah. But if he tries to take the pee and he does it too often, she might decide, so, well, she's going to give you a hard time. She might not leave him, though, because I find a lot of women who love their men, they're the ones that stick with them through thick and thin. They're the ones that are more likely to keep their man, regardless of infidelities, regardless of ill treatment sometimes, because they feel as though this is the man that they've chosen, this is the man that they're committed to. But I think sometimes when a woman chooses a man will test that love. Because sometimes if that man hasn't got a high self-esteem, he's going to doubt that woman's intentions. He's going to think, oh, that she can't really love me. It must be something she want. She must want something from me. She can't really love me. A woman like that love me. And sometimes that's how men think. And then what they do They start testing the woman, and then the relationship breaks down because yes, a woman will love you, but she's not going to put up with all this, all kinds of crap. She ain't going to do that. So I think whether or not a man chooses a woman or a woman chooses a man, it's about not taking that love for granted. If a man chooses a woman, make sure that you're choosing her for the right reason, not superficial reasons. Make sure you're going to stick to your word and make sure your behavior is consistent. Likewise, if a woman chooses a man, don't take advantage. Don't think, oh yeah, I've got her. I don't have to work at it. I don't have to do anything because she loves me. You have to still work at the relationship. So when a woman chooses a man, I'd like to think that she's going to be dedicated. She's going to be committed. She's more willing to forgive, open to love, will fight for what she wants, knows what she wants. And she'll fight for her man. Because sometimes you see, do you know that song? What is it? Barbara Mason, is it? Woman to woman. Yeah, that man is mine. And keep your hands up and all that stuff. She knows that her man is with someone else. But that is her man. And that woman had better back off. And when a woman really loves a man and she sees something in that man, something special in that man, she will fight for him. But that's because she's chosen him as opposed to him choosing her. And so it's a bit of a battle for men because men are used to going out for what they want. But it has to be reciprocal. So yes, you can fight for a woman, but you have to still look at the signs. Are you flogging a dead horse? You shouldn't have to work that hard if that woman likes you even a little bit. But if you find yourself pushing and she's there, making you work harder and how do I explain this? Like if a man is saying, boy, I really like you, and she's going, yeah, well, I'm not too sure, I'm not too sure. And, more or less kind of giving him a hard time. You see, it's very difficult because women have been taught to play hard to get. And I don't think a woman has to play hard to get. I think a woman can just be herself. And if you have self-respect, you create boundaries. You create limitations. You create your own restrictions. You don't have to play this game of playing hard to get. But your self-respect will create boundaries. So that man will know that even though you're happy to be with him or you love him or you spend time with him, he'll know his boundaries. He'll know that he can't mess with you and he can't disrespect for you because as much as you love him, you love yourself more. So this playing hard to get stuff, it doesn't really work. It's a load of crap because all it does is it raises expectations, especially on the part of the man, and it raises them to a degree that when they finally get you and you're not really who they thought you were, they're like disappointed. Is this me I fight for? Is this me I wait for? You never know, say this me I wait for. So I think it's best to be open, loving, warm, spontaneous. But, all of this playing games that people play, and I think even with men, when they're vying for a woman's attention, games shouldn't come into it. It shouldn't be a test of whether or not we can get her. And if we can get her, what I can do and from what I'm not going to do. And I wonder if I call her, if she can call me back. And I wonder if me ignore her. I wonder if she can call me and all this kind of crap. It shouldn't be a game. There shouldn't be all this testing. But I think men test instinctively. I don't think they realize that they're testing, but they just test. And I don't think that when you test a woman, I don't think it gives you accurate results because women are quite perceptive. and they know when you're playing games, and they just play into your hands, and you kind of, you don't get the result that you want. So if you're thinking, oh, boy, I'm going to see if she can call me, I'm not call her. I want to see if she love me. And a woman's there thinking, you know what, call me, make him turn there. You know what I mean? Because as far as she's concerned, you're the one that says you're interested. So you're the one that should be calling. If you don't call, that means that you're not interested. So don't try to prove or try to get results off of a false premise. Because if you're trying to get results based on something false, you're going to get false results. It makes sense. Anyway, what else was I going to say? When a woman loves a man, she'll do anything for him. She'll be loyal, caring, nurturing, forgiving. When love is betrayed and her heart is broken, she may, and especially if a woman loves a man and he really hurts her and betrays her, and she can't take it anymore, that type of woman is more likely to think, I don't want another man. It'll take some kind of special man to make her give it another try. Because I believe when a woman loves, she really loves. And especially in today's time, it's very, very difficult to find lasting love because we live in a disposable society. So I think even now, more than ever, it's important to show appreciation for the person in your life. It's important to show gratitude, regardless of who chose who. It's important to appreciate who you're with, especially if you know your partner is a good man or a good woman. It's important not to play games and not to test the waters. Just be loving and caring and show gratitude. We don't know what's happening from one day to the next. So all this game playing and seeing what you can get out of someone, seeing how far you can get with someone, it's just not worth it. It really is important to be open, honest, nurturing, and caring. And live each day as though it was your last. Just try to imagine when you're with your partner, supposing I don't see him tomorrow, supposing something happens and they take him away, or, supposing something happens and, I find out my wife has an illness. That last day I spent with her, how was that spent? Was it spent in her arms? Was it spent playing with her hair? Was it spent massaging her feet? And likewise with the woman. Did you make him a nice meal? Did you, look after him? Did you massage his back? Did you stroke his hair? It's about those last, if you think of each day as possibly being your last day, because we do not know what's going on. Really and truly, you'll build up a better relationship. Even relationships that seem broken, sometimes they're broken because they're lacking love, they're lacking appreciation, they're lacking gratitude. Sometimes that's all it is. People create a lot of excuses why relationships break up, and 99% of the time it's because, like I said in a previous video, it's lack of consideration, lack of respect, lack of compassion, and lack of forgiveness. So, like I said, I think providing you can appreciate each other, I think you've got it. You can turn things around. So, men who love women, it's a decision regardless of messing around. He has decided he loves the woman, but does not realize that his decision is not enough. He needs to keep it up or track it up. Anyway, back it up. Okay. He needs to back up his decision. In other words, if a man does choose a woman, make sure whatever you tell her, the reason why you love her, you can back it up with words. And it's not just words, because words without actions, we all know what that is. Okay, and that's all for now. Bye bye.